up, people? And happy Tuesday. Every time that last thing goes off and it's like, boom, I just want like smoke signals to go, bah, 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 and then be me. Hello, Yolanda. I see you. Welcome this evening. Happy Tuesday, folks. My happiest day of the week. My favorite. Hi, Daisy. How are you? Super, super excited to be here tonight. It's a great evening. Excited to always join you guys every Tuesday. The last time we were on here, I was joined by our executive producer, Ray, and we spoke about what do I see in the mirror? What's the reflection that I see? What do other people see? What do I portray? It was a great night. If you did not check it out, go to YouTube and check us out. As per always, we remember why we're here. So we're crawling across that screen is the number to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. 800-799-7233. You can also reach us at loveshouldnothurt.com and all of our social media platforms. Remember that if we in a timely fashion, you should always reach out to the hotline or dial 911. The people there are trained to speak with you, and the operator will know just how to support you. Good evening, folks, and I hope that you guys are excited for this topic. I was, because I think it's super controversial. People are constantly asking me all the time about my past and whether or not I forgive my abuser and whether or not I have anger and forget and all of the above. And there's so many mixed answers, so many mixed feelings. So I thought that it was a great topic to share, because I think a lot of us who go through abuse are always thinking to ourselves, should I forgive them? How can I forget them? And I think that it's best that we have this conversation, not by myself, because you would be bored looking at my face, even though it's pretty. You would be bored just watching me all night long by myself. So tonight I welcome the beautiful Marilyn Del Valle. She was a part of our documentary. She's been a part of everything that we've done. She's at our gala. She watches us. She supports us. She's our makeup artist whenever we do these amazing things, and we love Marilyn. So we're excited to bring her to the screen. So welcome, Miss Del Valle, tonight. Hi, love.
How
How you
are
feeling
you?
tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. Can't complain.
Still on vacation mode, because you're always on vacation mode.
As always.
Awesome. So how are you feeling about tonight's topic? When I reached out and I gave you the topic, what did you think?
It's a tricky topic, because that's something that you always, that phrase, you forgive, but you don't forget. So it's definitely a tricky topic, and I'm looking forward to, talking on it tonight and seeing what people have to say about it.
Absolutely. Well, I I spent a lot of thought in this. If anybody who's watching has seen our documentary, hello Dolly. If anyone who has seen our documentary, they know that I mention it in there. It's just something that I think is a constant for a lot of people who have gone through abuse, because we don't know how to forgive. We don't know how to move on from it. And then some individuals, because I get a lot of contrast, right? I get positivity thrown at me, but I also get negativity. I have a lot of people who say that I do what I do because I can't let it go. I can't forget, which is not the reason behind Love Shouldn't Hurt. And if you're an avid follower and you're a supporter, you know that we do this for a reason. And it's just funny to me that so many people say, "Oh my goodness, you can't let it go. That's why you're doing what you do," and that's absolutely, totally the opposite of such. I'm gonna play a video. And once I play the video, I want you to tell me kind of what your opinion is behind that, because I think it's important that we think about whether or not we can forgive and forget and move on, and if we choose one or the other. Like, I forgive but I'll never forget, things of that nature. So Ray, let's put that first video there of I forgot his name. Why did I forget
If you forgive a person, but you hang on to the anger,
Yeah.
the pain, and the hurt, and you say you forgave the person, then you don't understand what forgiveness really is. Forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you.
Wow.
Absolutely. That was my answer to folks. Every single time someone said to me, "How could you forgive him? How could you get past that? I mean, you were beaten up, you were slammed against the wall, you were put through a wall. How could you forgive that person?" And the only answer I could always give is, if I didn't forgive him, I would be the one walking around with that pain forever. I would be the one who would be stressed about it. I would be thinking about it constantly. So I had to make a conscious decision to say, I forgive you. I forgive you. How you feel about that video, Marilyn?
It's really, yeah, that hit home, definitely. Being, what I went through as well. For the longest time, of course, how the hell can I forgive somebody that, gone through so much with, physically, mentally, verbally, the whole nine. Um, but I have to say that at one point in my life too, that's how I felt like I have to forgive, because if I don't, how can I live with myself? Like that's gonna be like carrying, a baggage everywhere I go and not be able to move on with my life.
Hmm.
So of course, we're always good. Never. Well, let me go back. We're never going to forget because it's happened. It's something that we've been through. So that's definitely, for at least for me, I will never forget it. However, I have forgiven, because again, like that, what Steve Harvey said, it's so true. You have to. If you don't forgive, then how can you move forward in your life? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
At least you're doing it for yourself. Because the other thing is, like, I didn't want to bring what I went through in my next relationship.
Yeah.
Although we put all that on the table, right? Like we discussed before in previous lives, you gotta discuss all this with your significant other.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's deep, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's a sense of peace that you get with the forgiving. Even if you never get the I'm sorry, because
Right.
that's the thing that holds people sometimes. They're like, well, how can I forgive them when I'll never get an I'm sorry for what they did to me? They'll never say, I'm so sorry for hello, sunshine. I'm so sorry for doing this to you. I'm so sorry for hurting you. And that's a part of it, because sometimes they don't want to acknowledge it. They don't want to acknowledge what it is that they've done to you because in their mind, since it's something that they've done so often and so much, it's not abuse to them. So to them, what am I saying sorry for? So it's difficult for us as the people who are here to say, okay, I need to forgive this person. I need to go on. And also, like with our abuse, right? In general, people kind of see you like, oh, you're a sucker or you're stupid, like, why would you do it? I have family members that still are just like, you forgive him? Like, why would you forgive him? And I take a page out of my grandmother's book. My grandmother was a profound Catholic, right? She was very charismatic in her faith and in her walk with God. It was always, you have to forgive. Look at God, right? God forgave everyone, even those who were against him. And I don't want to get all preachy and because we don't support or not support whether you believe in God or not. That's not what we're here for. We're not a religious show. Um, but because I was raised in that atmosphere, that's the type of mindset that I have had to play throughout my life. Like, do I forgive this person? Do I let go of the pain that this person put me through? Because honestly, if I spend my entire life saying he hurt me and I'm broken and I'm bitter and I'm terrible, he's already moved on with his life. You know, like he's got a whole family. Like life has moved on for him. And I also need to coexist with this person because of my daughter. I need to be able to be cordial. So if I don't forgive you and I hold that anger and that frustration, how the hell am I going to be able to be a parent with this person? How am I going to be able to still see this person? People don't realize that either. We get backlash just for being abused. Why would you stay for so long? If it was me, I would have never done it. And then once you leave, right, and you become like a more positive person and you left and you're a victor, you're not a victim anymore, then it's, why did you forgive them? And I would hold that against them forever. And it's like, it's the same thing as if I was in the abuse and you would say, take a mile in my shoes. Well, also take a mile in my shoes in this because I have to get past this and forgive so that I can be her mother and he can be her father and we can coexist at the same time. Right.
Exactly.
So it's hard, my abuse was, she's 15 now, 15, 16 years ago, because he was even when I was pregnant. Yours, you've detached from your relationship more recent than me. So I know that there's a different state of mind. There's wounds for me that have already fully closed. I know there's still wounds for you that have not fully closed. So when you think back, you said that you have forgiven that person. Are you able to speak with that person and even just keep an open mindset in general, not just for him, but in general? Are you able to keep, I know it's more difficult on some days than others.
Absolutely not. And it's a shame, right? Because I am willing to be cordial for our children, right? But um, for whatever reason, they don't want to be cordial with me, and that's fine. All my kids have cell phones, so that's how they communicate with their father. Um, but I tried to have that open communication for our children. Um, but it's, unfortunately, like you said, mine is more recent. Maybe later on in a couple years down the road, maybe after they've gone through what they need to go through, then perhaps. But yeah, that hasn't happened, unfortunately.
So there's two pieces, right? The show says forgive and it says forget,
Right.
right? Do you believe for yourself, because we have to speak on our own, obviously, do you believe for yourself that this is something that you're going to be able to put behind you and forget? Honest answer.
No.
And more, why is that? Give me your rationale for it.
Um, because I went through it for so long. I mean, I was with this person since I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
All the signs were there. I ignored them because I'm like, oh, whatever. Um, so I felt like I grew with that as years went on,
Mhm.
and I feel like it's a part of me. Like I don't feel like I can ever forget what I've went through. Yes, I have forgiven the person, but I don't know if I could ever forget because again, it's just something that is like part of me, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But with at least with my boyfriend now, like I've discussed all this with him, and he knows what I've been through, and he's reassured me like, don't worry about that here, Um, but I don't know. I don't think I could. Maybe if you would ask me that question, maybe like 10 years from now, maybe I could say I've forgotten that. That's my past. But it's something to be honest with you, even more like even when I was still in it. I was trying to forget, right? Like, which is crazy because I was still in it. But it's like, okay, man, you gotta just let this go, like start over, start over. But it's like, how many times am I gonna continue to start over?
Yeah.
I think that's probably why I can't forget.
Yeah.
But for me, at least, I can't.
Right. And no, I just wanted your honest opinion. I don't think that it's something that honestly anyone will ever forget.
Yeah.
Um, I've been now 15, 16 years after, and I'll never forget, and it's not a forget as in, see, we didn't see it. The comment came up, but I still kept talking because I'll go back to the comments. But our executive producer put a question in there and it says, can you ever reconcile with an abuser? And I went past it, but I'm coming back to it because I think a part of the forgetting would be saying, okay, I'm legit forgiving you. I'm legit forgetting. And we can move past this and we can be great. And I'll never bring it back up again. It'll never be a memory in my head. But for myself, consciously, I don't hate him. I don't. I don't, we laugh on the phone when we speak. We joke. And like I said, we're at two different places, you and I. When we talk, we laugh, we're able to talk about our daughter together on the phone and speak fine and laugh. And, I'll call and say she's tripping today. And, he literally can call her and be like, listen to your mom. Like we are at a way better place. And I think that it was only because I forgave. Only because of that. Because I think that if I still didn't forgive, when he would call, I'd be like, talk to him and deal with him. But I also think time also, they say it, it's as crazy as it sounds, time heals a lot of wounds. And I can forget instances. There's some key moments that I'll never forget, like key times that I was hit that they're embedded in my head. I like screwed them in and they're staying in that memory pot. But then there's other moments that I'm like, did that happen or not? Because I don't remember it exactly how it happened anymore. And forgive and forget is always a question. And that's why we posed it for today's show. That's the question that always comes up. But my legit answer for that, because that's in the discussion, is that I don't think I'll ever forget the abuse, but I consciously made that effort to forgive so that I can be at peace with myself and be more healing. The question was, can you ever reconcile with an abuser? I'm going to assume I know your answer. I'll let you answer that on your own.
Um, it's hard
Think of
because
it in this sense. Think of it in this sense, because I don't want to put you in a box, right? I don't want you to feel like you're just speaking about that. Think of it in, because abuse, we say this often, can come in many forms. verbal abusive friendships, family. So when it comes to the idea, let's not even say your ex, right? Because we don't want to keep putting you in that box. When it comes to abusive friendships, it comes with abusive, even family members. Do you think you could ever reconcile and have a positive relationship with those folks and move on from that abuse? If I
I,
put it in that way.
I think so. And I think I saw something to her comment that stated there, like it depends. Like I don't want to put it in that box. Like it depends on the abuse, but I feel like when it's a physical thing, it's more. And I don't want to sound like, but I feel like when it's physical, it's more like, wow, like you disrespected me. You know, yes, verbally the same thing, you disrespected me, but when it's physical, it's just like, oh my gosh, just something that, to be honest, Chrissy, like it traumatized me. It
Yeah,
has
absolutely.
um, so I can't even deal with arguments or anything because it just like makes me like go back. It puts me like in this flashback, like oh my god, like I don't want to argue. I don't want to like I can't. That's how it has traumatized me. So I probably could, but yeah, it's like you said. Even trying to put me outside the box, it's so hard for me because it's still so new. Like you said, it's been recent. You know, not recent, but that's yeah. I don't know. For me, it's I don't know if
It's
I
hard, and that's why we have these conversations. People watch, and sometimes we have Amanda on, and she can give us clinical perspectives and different things about what it is that we talk about. But most times, rather than none, our conversations are just that, conversations, because I cannot proclaim that I am some sort of professional. I am a professional in what I dealt with, in my abuse, and my story, and how I have moved on from it or not moved on from it. So that's why I always say that I have to have transparency when I come on here, because I can't tell you to feel the way I feel. I can't tell another person that was abused to feel the way they felt. Everyone finds a reason for doing or acting the way that they do after abuse. People accept it. That question is posed, and I've seen couples, as crazy as it sounds, and we think because of our type of abuse, that'll never happen. I know a couple who actually went through years of physical, emotional, and mental abuse, and they went and they sought therapy. They sought therapy for 2 years, and they renewed their vows. And that renewal of their vows was kind of like a fresh start. And they've now been married since that abuse for the past 15 years. And they say that they have the best relationship. They're each other's best friend, and I've had conversations separately with her, like, did it really stop? Like, has this really stopped? And she was like, yes, yes. Like, he's never put his hands on me again. He totally respects me. And it's a shock to my system. Like, my system's like, what? Because I spent so much time believing that an abuser could never change. And once you're bad, you're gonna always be bad. And it's crazy because me and my daughter, we take walks, right? I say that past few years when we're on here, me and my daughter, we take walks. And we were taking a walk the one day, and we were talking about that. And we were talking about how, could this person change? Will they ever change? Can you forgive them? Type of thing. And that is the conversation that I had with her. And she gave me like profound like thought on the situation, right? And my daughter was just like, it depends on the circumstance, and people can change. You just have to allow them to. And just that allow them to kind of was like, I never thought about that, because you have so many people from your past, or even people that you deal with, that are like, I can change, give me a chance, I can change. And because we're so accustomed to the abuse, we're like, you're never going to change, that's just who you are. But different things, different people, different circumstances, they could, so people get up here and they're like, oh, you bash men. I don't, because everybody is different. And abuse isn't just men and women, we know that. It could be women on women, men on men. But I don't. I can say this much. I can say this much. My abuser, the specific one that we always talk about, my abuser and I are at a better place now, because he is not the same person he was. I don't know what their day to day looks like, but I do know he's not the same person. I know that that abusive person that I knew for so long is not who that person is now. What they do in their home that I don't know about may or may not be there. But even in discussions with my daughter, it's not the same. And it's like, I'm not worried anymore. I'm not scared anymore. Which shows me in, some type of crazy light at the end of the tunnel that maybe time has changed this person. Maybe there are differences in that person's character now. Maybe life circumstances change them. But would I ever reconcile with the person? And my answer, I could never reconcile with him as in a relationship, but I think we have reconciled a friendship. We're not best friends. We're
Right.
not friends in any way, shape, or form, but we are able to communicate and laugh. And he'll call and talk to my daughter, and I'm like, "De puesto viejo," like you're old, dude. And like we have conversations. So I think it was a part of my healing process. I think the moment that I said, I forgive you, all of that literally changed throughout the year. Have we been perfect? Not at all. There have been moments, but we are definitely at a different place. And I think it is because I chose to forgive him, which is not something that's easy. There are a lot of comments in this comment box right now. And normally I wait, right? But I want to Love Shouldn't Hurt, which is our executive producer. He put up before, we don't want to get into somebody else's comments because we're going to do it after the 30 mark, but let's see that comment that was placed up. Ray, what was that comment that you put up there for us? Because I thought that was really important. It was a good look on it. When you find yourself in the acceptance or forgiveness phase, you will find a true peace. You will realize that you no longer live your life around the abuse, but rather you live in the knowledge that you have survived. I think that's significant for what it is that we do.
Yes.
Do you agree? Like, what's your thoughts on that, Marilyn?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's something that you have to tell yourself, like, okay, I've been through it. Now I have to live with myself. How can I get past it? Like you said, it's a healing process. Um, but I definitely agree with that comment. Definitely. It's something that you have to yourself decide, okay, I can't continue to have this. Like I said, I feel like sometimes I have the baggage on me because it's like once I hear even people arguing in front of me, I'm like, oh my god, I can't. Me pongo mala,
Yeah.
mala. Like because again, I feel like I'm traumatized. But I think over time, as time goes on, I think it's something that, like you said, Christy, like I think that I could look back and like, okay, I survived that. That is so true because we are survivors, you know. So yeah, I agree with that comment.
Yeah, I think it is a huge weight lifted when you do that, because I know, like, I don't know about you, but I felt a shift, as goofy as it sounds. And I guess because when I decided I'm going to forgive you, I kind of was like, like that weight kind of, I'm not holding on to that anymore. And the craziness is that we had a discussion, and this was years ago, not even recent. She was probably like 2 or 3 or 4. Who knows? She was young. And he had a conversation on the phone with me, and he's never physically said, I'm sorry. He's never said, I'm sorry for what I've done to you. What he did say was, you went through a lot of things you never should have. You are a good mom and you've made the best life for her, and you're a good person. So he never said I'm sorry, but the fact that he even acknowledged that I dealt with things I shouldn't, to me, was his apology. And it may have been because that's how he apologized. He couldn't say I'm sorry because saying I'm sorry accepts what you've done. I think it was more of, this is my way of it. And in that conversation, he said to me, if I were you, I don't even know what the conversation was about, but his response was, if I were you, I would never forgive for the things you went through. And I said, are you referring to yourself? And he was like, yeah. And my response to him was just that. I forgave you a long time ago. And he was like taken back. He was like, what do you mean you forgave me? And I was like, I forgave you a long time ago, not for you. I forgave you for me
Right.
because I thought that that was important. And he just was quiet on the phone for a while. He's like, are you serious? And I was like, no, I'm dead serious. I had to forgive you so that I could move on, because if I didn't, dude, I'd hold on to it forever and I could never speak to you again. And I know we have a child. I have to speak to you again. And I think that me dio el alivio that I needed to be able to. And again, I speak for myself. I'm looking at comments and I see, and I empathize with everyone because we all have different types of pain and we all have different ways to maneuver through that pain, and what we can forgive, what we can forget. We all have to do that in our own sense, and our situations are all different. So I empathize with people who have gone there. But for myself, I had to do it so that I could feel free. from
Right.
that instance. So
Definitely.
after the 30 mark, I also want to touch on the fact that forgive or forget, we always think it's for the abuser, right? We always think, oh my God, I have to think about um he was I have to I'm sorry, I got thrown off by something I read. I we forget we have to think about, should we forgive them? Should we forgive them? Should we forgive them? But I literally think that we should also think about ourselves, right? Because we blame ourselves for a lot of our abuse sometimes. We say, maybe if I didn't do this, or maybe if I didn't do that, then if we forget about the abuse, we blame ourselves for not leaving sooner.
Yep.
I should have left a long time ago. I went through it for too long. I went through it. So a part of that forgive and forget is forget the abuser. A part of that forgive and forget is us
Yeah.
forgiving ourselves. For some people, extending forgiveness to their abuser is a product of their faith or their belief system, and it actually does release them from any attachment so they are free to move on from their pain. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's important and people need to
Too that I
understand that.
used, and he laughed at me like, you forgiving me. So it was, and I did it because, of my beliefs too, like you had expressed about your grandma and being, raising up in Catholic. I was raised Catholic and Christian, so it was like both. But not to get too much into religion, but same thing for me. Like I needed to do that, like as you said, to to feel free. But then I question myself sometimes, am I really, did I really forgive him because I can't forget? Sometimes I struggle with that, like tug of war. I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? So if that makes sense, but I feel like I struggle with that because I don't know, like, okay, I did say I forgave him, but I have to work on, can I ever forget that? Probably not. Who knows? Maybe over the years, I don't know. But like you said, everybody's situation is different.
Right. And that is you're hiding, you're hiding. It's okay, people live in our household, people. It's live.
Right?
But that's the thing. That's the big thing because some people have said that. Like, how do you say you forgive, but you keep talking about it? You keep
Yeah.
talking about it, you keep mentioning it. I talk about it because of what I do. This is me. Love Shouldn't Hurt is Christina. I started this organization. I am the forefront. I'm the face. So speaking about my experience is how I'm able to help other people and allow people to vent to me and let it out. But in no way, shape, or form is the fact that I speak about it mean that I am stuck in it. I'm not stuck in it. I'm not. And I don't hate him and I don't hold that against him. I speak about it because of what it is that I do, because it is a part of what I speak about and who I am as a person. Um, he just wrote one more, and I'm gonna let's say that let's put that up, Ray. Forgiveness is what you make of it and what's absolutely. That's a great way to go into our second half. So let's remind folks, since we're at the 30 mark, what we're here for, of course. As per always, if you or someone you know, even someone that you may not even like, a foe, it's as easy as giving them the number to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. We have one in Philadelphia. If you'd like, we put that up as well, but we make sure that we put up the national because I don't know where you're watching from. 1-800-799-7233. Be sure to reach them if you need immediate assistance. If you are in danger and you reach out to loveshouldnothurt.com, and you have not heard from us in an ample time, believe me, I will not be offended if you move on to the next person. And you should dial 911 if you are in grave danger. Do not wait for us to reply. You need to dial 911. The people on the other end are trained individuals who will help you get through this situation. So there's a lot of comments in there, a lot of comments. And I want to get to that other video because it speaks about us forgiving ourselves. But before we do that, let's finish up with what we were saying because there's so many comments. So, Ray, let's go to the top. Let's start from the top and see what these comments are. Absolutely agree with forgiving, not for the person, but for oneself. I learned this through tough times. Like, no mas, I want to be in peace. Absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing, Yolanda. We want to be at peace. And it's like a weight lifted. And when we forgive, it's like, que alivio.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yolanda, again, the ignorance of people to tell you, you can't let go, therefore you speak on it. But even if you forgive, depending on the situation, one should speak about it because it's not every day that we speak about the bad or the lessons that we learn. So let's make this a norm to speak aloud to either educate or let others know, hey, you aren't alone. This happens to the best of us. Absolutely, Yolanda. And I think that that's what's important, and people don't see that. People think that if you speak about it, you haven't let it go and you're like harboring it and you're bitter. I'm not bitter, people. I'm not bitter.
When I speak on it is more like if somebody's already going through it. I try not to talk about it, right? But if somebody's going through a situation, I give them, I give them like, okay, this is what I went through. This is what you probably should do, or like you said, give them the helpline and so forth. But just to let them know, like, listen, you can get out of this. That's my big thing. You can get out of this.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah, it's like our actions are speaking for us, and speaking about it is not meaning that we're harboring it and we're bitter.
right?
It just means that we're using it as our tool to educate other people, to spread the word, because people don't talk about domestic violence. It's just taboo to talk about. So we talk about it to make it more normal to express what people are going through, and they can't hide behind it. They can say, okay, I've let it out. Let's see another comment, Ray. Forgiving should be a way of closure for yourself while being somewhat at peace. We won't forget because it's a part of our past life. It's something we remember to choose to never go back to.
Absolutely.
Exactly. That is another thing about not being able to forget. It teaches us. When we don't forget, we remember it, and it can teach us with the next situation. If I don't let it go, it can teach me for the next one, and I'm going to remember. I didn't forget it because now I can remember I'm not tolerating this again. I'm not going through this with you again or with anyone else. So I forgive that person.
Right.
Chacho, podemos hablar todo el día. We're fine. But I'm not going to forget it so that when I see the signs next time, I'm going to remember because of that.
Absolutely.
Depends on the abuse, depends on the actions taken after the fact. Depends on if this was a one time thing. And as humans, we can make mistakes, but that's not speaking with optimism, but speaking for myself. Hell no, no way. One time is all it takes. I'm assuming she means reconciling with the abuser. She's responding to that. He said, hell no. Christine Lopez, no, never. This is what they're responding to. Everything you go through during that period in life stays with you. Doesn't define you, but it's something you can't forget. Absolutely. You can't forget, but some can forgive, but don't forgive them for them, but for your own healing. Yes, absolutely. That is big for me. Prime. If you forgive, make sure you're forgiving genuinely with your heart because it's for you. Don't
Exactly.
forgive because you want to make them feel better. They come and they're crying to you and you're like, okay, I forgive you. No, do it for you because you're going to need it so that you can be at peace. We are forgiving the abuser, us, but we should not have to forgive ourselves for the abuse of others. Right. And we'll see. Here's my thing. She's probably responding to us saying it. So I say forgive ourselves because we're difficult on ourselves. I don't mean forgive ourselves because we went through the abuse. What I meant by that, Roz, is that we have to forgive ourselves for staying too long, at least for our mindset, right? Because in our minds, it's like, oh my God, I stayed 6 years, I stayed 8 years, I stayed 15 years. And we get mad at ourselves and we beat ourselves up, especially after abuse. We beat ourselves up when we're finally gone. We're like, I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I sat there for so long when I should have left, because we even do that now, right? Well, just not even relationships that are like physically abusive, but just bad relationships that we know they're not bad, but we stay and we're like, I know I
Right.
didn't want to be with him all this time. Why did I waste my time? We have to forgive ourselves. There's a video that we're going to play, but we have to forgive ourselves too because we're human. Like, you stayed for a long time. People stay for all different reasons. People stay for all different reasons. They stay for financial security. They stay so that someone is there. They stay out of fear. We have to stop. Say that again.
For the
What you
kids,
say?
they
Yeah,
say
for your kids. Right. So we have to forgive ourselves for beating ourselves up because we beat ourselves up with that. Like, oh my God, I should have left. I should have left. No, you left in your time. You left when it was appropriate for you because not everybody's time is the same. She, Yolanda said one time and I'm out, that's it. And that's amazing. I love when I meet women that are like, I got beat up so bad. I'm done. I was done and I never went back. I love those people, not because they were abused, but I love the fact that they knew after one, you're not doing this shit to me again. I love it and I admire them for that strength because I did not have it. I wish I had that strength. But then when I left, I beat myself up constantly. Like, oh my God, I don't believe I stayed there. And I learned I needed to forgive me. I left when I saw fit to leave.
right. I agree.
When's the next one, Ray? He's trying to find them all.
So, who is it that you need to forgive when you come out of the narcissistic relationship? I'll tell you what, I learned that it was me. I needed to forgive myself. It wasn't my father. It wasn't my ex. It wasn't all of the men that have crossed my path in my life who I have tried to stand up to in one way or another or hold my ground and have boundaries, who then just returned with calling me a bitch or telling me that I was being too difficult. This is why we say go find less. That's why. Not literally because our volume and aggression is too loud. It's because we've been surrounded by men who have called us names and belittled us for putting up our boundaries. Forgive yourself.
Forgive yourself. Because you know what? That's the only way it's going to change when you move on, because you're going to keep harboring that and replaying it and feeling like it's your fault.
Yeah,
No, this is the cards that you were dealt. You dealt with them as best as you could.
right.
Move on from it. Move on from it. That's all we can do. Yolanda says, love me too much to allow anyone to treat me any less than I deserve. Good for you, girl.
That's right.
I needed that mindset about 16 years ago. And then I needed it again about 10 years ago. And then I needed it again about 5 years ago. And I'm still working on it. At 41, I'm still working on allowing myself to accept nothing but the best. Because I think that we become so accustomed to not getting what we deserve that we kind of are just like, this is what I'm used to. But you stop that, right, Marilyn? You stop that.
You do, yes. Yes, like, no, I'm not going through that again. No, 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 no. Yeah, you
Absolutely.
have to common ground. Like, you can't continue to keep putting yourself through the same thing over and over. Like, once you leave, it's time to say, you know what? No, I need to know my self worth. I am worthy. I deserve better. That's it. You know, I feel like it takes a while for us to realize that, right? For whatever reason, sometimes uno se pone bien, like they say, cómodo, like you get bien acostumbrado with your partner or whatever, and you just be like, oh, whatever, like he's just having a bad day. But then it's like, no, like something snaps in your head, and you're just like, hell no, I deserve better than this. I deserve to be loved unconditionally. I deserve to look good or whatever, whatever it makes you happy. But we shouldn't have to go through something like that over and over and over again. It's just gonna tug you down, and I can't see myself going through that again. Hell no. I'm like Yolanda now. Hell no.
No, no. And I think that that's a place that we need to find ourselves, right? We need to find ourselves at either the place where we know that I'm going to get into a relationship and I'm not going to tolerate anything, or consciously knowing I'm still not at that place, so let
Yes,
me not get into another relationship. Let
absolutely.
me not rush into another relationship because I'm not at that powerful moment. I'm not at that place where I can stop the disrespect. I know that about myself because I've taken time by myself, single, not in a relationship, to realize I'm not there yet. So I need to stay single. I need to not be with someone, because if I do, I'm at risk of this happening again because I haven't found my self worth. I think that my nose is itching. Sorry, people, I have allergies and I'm trying not to scratch.
That's the
Um,
you're making. That I agree with that.
yeah, because you know what? I think people have sometimes not found that place of forgiving, of forgetting, of moving on. And they also haven't found that place of, I deserve better. I'm not going to be treated badly. They want to be there, but they have not gotten there. So then they jump right into another relationship because they just want the companionship. They want to be with someone. And the cycle continues on because you haven't allowed yourself to get to that place where you're strong enough to pararlo. This ain't happening. We're not doing this again, bro. Like, I'm not going through this with you. I've been through it too many times. And we just don't take that moment. So that's my biggest thing. Like, if you are leaving an abusive relationship and you have chosen to forgive that person because you want the peace, make sure that once you forgive and you find that inner peace, that you also look for the strength that you need to be by yourself first, so that when you head into that next one, you're not forgetting what you've been through, because it's going to help you with this new one. But you also need to be strong enough to say, no mas. I'm not going to deal with this in this new relationship, because if you're not, you don't want to repeat the same things. Um, Let's see that comment, Ray. You put something up there, but I can't see it. So if you want to fully heal and feel like the missing piece is tied up in what forgiveness really means, take your power back by defining it yourself. If that means forgiving your abuser in terms you construct, then have at it and taste that freedom that will come your way. That's a good point. That's a good point.
That is.
Forgiveness in you have to define that for you and then decide how that forgiveness is going to work. I like that. Thank you. I like that point because you know what? You decided to forgive, right? You said, I decided to forgive, but you're still struggling with the communication part and things like that. Like I said, we're in two different places, right? I forgave, and my weight in the forgiving, my definition of it was I'm going to forgive him. I'm going to have a communication with him that's healthy for my daughter. I don't want her to see us angry all the time. I don't want her to see us bitter towards one another. So I defined what our relationship was. So I decided if he calls, I'm not going to ignore his call. I'm going to take it instead of just handing her the phone. I'm going to speak to him, calmly, normally, as if he was just anyone else. I defined that for me. And I think that's huge, Ray. That's really huge because you can forgive and say, I'm gonna forgive you, we're cool, we're peace, but you need to call your daughter on your own. You need to call her phone, don't communicate with me. You need to call her when you're outside, don't call me, type of thing. That's some people's definition. Like, I forgive you, bro, but this is how we're going to communicate. My forgiveness was I'm going to forgive you and I'm going to be able to tolerate you and be cordial with you and pick up the phone with you. And you'll be surprised, and again, I'm not speaking for everyone. Everyone is different. I'm speaking for myself. You'll be surprised how that changed throughout the years because that is how it started. But now I'm telling you, he fixes my brakes when I need brakes done on my car. He calls me and makes fun of my big forehead. I say he's old, he fat. Like we go at it with each other. We talk. You would never ever, if you saw us in the same room, you would never know our past because we get along just fine.
Definitely. That's growth. It's growth. It's heal and growth. It's the two. It took you to all that. It took you to at that point in your life where you're like, okay, I'm ready to forgive him, right? And then now you guys are at a point where like you guys grew from that, and he was like in shock when you said, I forgive you, right? He was like, what? You forgave me. But it's that growth and that healing that is what brought you guys where you are today.
Yeah. And I saw somewhere in there, Ray didn't put it up. Somebody made a comment. And they said he sounded egotistical and patronizing. And I'm sure it probably came off that way. It probably for people who don't know him, it probably did. But to listen to my nose is itching. To listen is itching so bad. To listen to the conversation, if you were there that way, it wasn't that way. He wasn't patronizing. He wasn't egotistical at all. Like he really, really, that's why I say he didn't say the exact words of I'm sorry. It was more like it was his way of saying I'm sorry. Like he was empathetic. He sounded genuine. He really was like, I was having a hard time. I don't remember what it was. Again, I don't remember the conversation, but I was having a hard time. My daughter was really young at the time, and it was just, I'm doing this by myself. And he literally was giving me a pep talk. Like, you're doing this by yourself, Chrissy. Like, you're doing it by yourself. My hat goes off to you. Like, I'm not with there. You wake up with her when she's sick. You did, Chrissy, you went through a lot of shit you should have never been through. And you still are taking care of this girl and doing your thing. Like, I support you. Like, he was not patronizing. He was very, very empathetic at what he did to me. Again, he never said the words, I'm sorry. But through his emotions and the way that he expressed himself, I knew that he was sorry. I knew that. And he's had conversations with my daughter that I'm not present for. I'm not in the room. And he has said to her, your mom is a good woman. Like, your mom is a good woman. Like, respect her. Props to her, Lena. She's done everything for you. Respect your mom. Respect your mom. And in my eyes, I say over and over again, people are like, did he ever say I'm sorry? Yeah, he did. To me, he did because he did it in that way. And he doesn't bash me to my daughter. He doesn't say bad things. He also, like, I mean, it's not also, always does it in his way. And someone just made a comment, and I want to, before we get into the other ones, I want to go on to that one. Brace the last comment. It's no, the last one right after that by Dolly. It says, "You're blessed. However, co parenting with the narcissist is hell." Absolutely. And I tell you this, Dolly, absolutely. And I say that, you know why? Because I have seen both sides of the spoon. And when I say that, I do feel blessed that we are where we are right now. But it was not always like that. It was not always like when I first had her, like getting dinner. When I first had her and she was first born, he was super, super narcissistic. And I don't really like to spend my time focused on him on my shows because I don't ever want him to think this is a bashing thing for him because it's not. But I have been there. I've even dated someone after him who was a narcissist. And I couldn't imagine having kids with this person because I know just by the way that this person was on the daily basis, if I had a child with this person, it would be hell because they would never believe that they're wrong. They would never believe that they're wrong. They will constantly still make me out to be the bad person. And Marilyn's shaking her head. Marilyn, comment on that. Comment on that.
That is so true because it's like it's it's like they don't see it, right? And I'd be like, yo, how do you don't see what you're doing or what you're saying, or and you just know a narcissist from like once you start that conversation with them, it's like what? Like
Yeah.
hear what you just said to me? Like, what? And they make you look crazy. And then they start calling you crazy. Like, oh, well, you're here we go. Here goes, they favorite word that they used to tell me was that I was psychotic, right? And crazy thing is that yourself, when you're in that situation, you start believing, like, am I really crazy?
Yes.
Right? So, yeah,
Me cago en la madre. For real.
like, it's like you start like, am I crazy? Because it's that's like they just, oh my God, like that is so true. Like a narcissist, co-parenting with a narcissist, it is hell. It is. I feel like that's what I'm going through right now. That's exactly what I'm going through. I'm trying to be the bigger person. I'm trying to do this for my kids so that I could co-parent and say, okay, But at the end of the day, guess what? If you can't grow up and be a real, how can I put it? Not I guess like a real father or what, but if you can't do that, then it is what it is. I'm not going to continue trying to get that out of you. You know what I mean? It has to come with from you to say, you know what, okay, we're past that. Let me co-parent with my kid's mother, so that way we can better for the kids. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, yeah, it is.
At the end of the day, you have to do what's right for your kids. You have to do what's right for you. And that person may or may not change, depends on time. And if they don't, all you can do is continue to be their parent, do it positively, and just reflect it. And they'll see, and they'll know your kids are grown. They'll understand. We still have a lot of comments. Ray, let's go back up to that one from Yolanda at 741. It's right underneath the love shouldn't hurt comment. I don't think it's a bad thing when one takes their time with understanding the situation, isn't it? We tend to make excuses for them or believe they can change. Good heart, call it naive, blind love, etc. But I am a firm believer that everything we go through, we are meant to go through, as fucked up as that sounds. But that's not to say you deserved it. But for instance, in your case, Chrissy, you went through that and now you are a voice and the face for many domestic violence survivors. This had. I'm not sure what else she was trying to say because it said this had, but I do get what she's trying to say. And yeah, we go through what we grow. Try that again. We grow through what we go through. And I think that the fact that I have grown through everything I went through has made me a better person personally, has made me a better person to run this organization, has made me a better person to help other people because I have been through it. And I have taken the time to understand what I went through, to accept what I went through. Listen, let me tell you something. My beautiful daughter, love her to death. Talk about her all the time. If you're new following people, talk about Alina all the time. Alina sent me a TikTok months ago and I literally saw it when it came and I cried in my car. But I replied to it and I said, no, absolutely not. So the TikTok was a girl and she's pointing up and the ones that have the words, and it was just soft music and the words said something to the effect, I don't know the exact words, but said something to the effect of, I wish I could find. I'm gonna cry.
Oh,
I wish the multiverse. You know, you watch Spider Man and all that,
okay.
Marvel, all that crap. I wish the multiverse did exist because then I would know that there's a universe somewhere. I cry. There's a universe somewhere where my mother never felt any pain, even if that meant I was never born.
Wow. Wow.
When I got that TikTok and saw it, I said to Michael Maya, I'm like, look at your goddaughter. It's making me cry. And it's profound for me because you have to think back at those times and you have to remember them. I think it's important for us not to forget because I
Yeah.
think that if we leave it in our minds, we can remind ourselves what we've been through, one, how much stronger it's made us from getting past it, and two, reminding us of what we never want to ever go through again.
And not only us, right? Also my girls, my sons. Like I have to set that example to them every day. Now you know how teenagers are, right? They can take that consejo or they're not going to take it.
Right.
But I feel like as parents, we have to set that example for them too, and be like, once you see a red flag, you know, although you know it took me a while to get out of it. It took you a while to get out of it, right? And like Yolanda said, she's like, out one time and I'm out. So we don't know what is going to take our kids to get out of that situation. I just pray every day that I hope my daughters and my son don't ever have to go through that, right? But I agree. We all go through something in life because I feel like that does help us grow and that helps us to be stronger, and learn from those obstacles that we go through. Hmm.
Absolutely. Now that I've had my ugly face, Ray, the next one. uh, Migdalia says, I absolutely love this comment. As I'm believing this now, I went through what I went through for a reason. I'm still taking time to heal, to understand. It's been 4 months now, but honestly, I am dealing with things better now, understanding some even, especially knowing and realizing I'm not the actual problem or issue. All happens for a reason. But I won't allow myself every in that space, ever in that space or situation again if I can help it. Absolutely. You learn from it, it teaches you something, and then it teaches you how never to go back to it and never deal with it again.
Right.
Let's see. I'm trying to find another one. Okay. Forgiveness is about personal power, about attaining peace, about looking forward with hope. One, make a decision to let your anger and resentment go. Absolutely. Two, say out loud, I forgive you, or I lay down my hurt and choose to go on. And three, forgive yourself along with them. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Let's see. Yolanda, some who say the actual word sorry doesn't carry weight, but actions is where it's at. Absolutely. Because you can say I'm sorry till you're blue in the face, but if you keep doing the same thing to me, it means nothing. Nada. So actions, absolutely. Like I said, he never said I'm sorry, but the way that he expressed himself that day was enough for me to know that he meant it.
Yeah, definitely.
My kid's father is absolutely out the way, and I thank God every day because he's a true narcissist. Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's what we need to totally just alejar, totalmente away, because sometimes you could forgive, but you got to move like away from them because you don't want to continue to go through that.
Yeah.
Yolanda, life is all about lessons, about experiences, good and bad. It's what instills the best in us and makes us the humans we should be. Can you imagine living in a world where everything was absolutely perfect and there is nothing to learn from? Oh my God, right? That's a good point.
Yeah,
That's a great point. What would you learn? Everything's perfect. It's like I learned nothing. I didn't go through anything to figure anything out. That's
right.
it. Oh my goodness. Well, this was fun. Every time we get on here, it goes by too gosh darn fast.
Yes.
I'm like, it's already 55 minutes in. Wow. So we're gonna do like we normally do. I am going to leave Marilyn on the screen and let her do what she has to do. That music right there is showing us that we're towards the end. So I'm gonna go to the back and I'm gonna allow Marilyn to give us her final thoughts.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we all go through our ups and downs in our relationships. However, if there's a red flag, definitely get out of that situation if you can. As Christina had always put across the screen, if you're going through something, make sure to call that domestic hotline. And also, the topic tonight was great, and I hope that we all learned something from it today. We can forgive, right? But of course, as we have stated, we can't forget what we've gone through because it's our past and it's always going to be there. But hopefully, that will teach us along the way what we should not put ourselves back into in our next relationship. So I hope that everybody took something away from this tonight. And if you guys would like to friend request me, feel free. If there's something you're going through and you may need to speak to somebody, I'm your girl. Feel free to friend request me. God bless you all, and I hope you all have a great evening.
Thank you, Love Bucket. Vamos a hacer lo mismo. Tú vas atrás y yo me quedo acá.
Okay.
Well, listen, guys, you guys are amazing. You always are. And I love the fact that you guys come and you support us. I love even more that you interact with us. You know, that side that I see under there, you see it under you, but I see it on the side of me. The comment section is for that. I'd love you to interact. I love you to be a part of the conversation. So if this is you're here for the first time, keep coming back and keep joining the convo. Tell other people to come because we love to hear what you have to say and we love to make you a part of our show. I hope that you guys have gotten something from tonight. I never want to say lesson learned, right? Because I am not a doctor. I am not a psychotherapist. I am not a know all, say all. Christina is the word. What we do have is conversations that a lot of people don't like to have. We have the uncomfortable topics, uncomfortable conversations that are important to have because regardless of what other people think, it's super, super important to talk about domestic violence, talk about abuse, and bring light and shed light on it. Not everyone agrees with me, and that's okay. But it's super important because I think the more knowledge that we have on the topic, the better we are to combat it in the future. Remember, people, forgiveness is not for them, it is for you. Ultimately for you, always for you, because if you carry that around, it's going to be a weight you don't want to think about forever. So take that pain, ball it up, don't forget it because you want to make sure it never happens again, but tíralo para afuera for yourself. Forgive yourself for going through it because guess what? It was a learning lesson. And I bet you everything you've been through or grown through has made you an absolutely better person. Thank you all for being here, for joining us tonight. We'll be here next week. If you saw the flyer, we're trying to let you guys know what's coming for the next few weeks so you already have an idea. We have a great couple of shows coming up. Super excited. Listen, this Saturday, I have a flyer. Let's put that flyer up. We will be celebrating an amazing, amazing birthday. We are celebrating the amazing Jennifer Gomez Hardy. It is her birthday party, and we are celebrating her this weekend at a freestyle birthday bash. And people are like, why are you talking about this? One, I am talking about it because Jennifer Gomez Hardy is the owner of the new Lou and Choose, on Hunting Park Avenue, 2101 West Hunting Park Avenue. She is the owner of Gomez Law Group. She is one of our sponsors for our gala, and she is a huge supporter of Love Shouldn't Hurt. And the proceeds that they are collecting at the door are going towards Love Shouldn't Hurt, our organization. She is amazing, and she decided that the proceeds towards her event will go towards Love Shouldn't Hurt. She's a huge supporter of Love Shouldn't Hurt. So listen, people, if you are on this feed tonight, I want to say this much. If you've been watching, you're on this feed, and you are a freestyle lover, and you don't want to pay $10, she has told me that I can give away 10 tickets for this event on Saturday. So if you just need a night out, you like freestyle, you want to have a few cocktails, come out to the birthday bash on Saturday. The freestyle birthday bash, it is at 2101, I think 2101 West Hunting Park Avenue in North Philadelphia. It may look crazy, right? You're saying Hunting Park? Oh my God, it is beautiful. Support this establishment. They have redone the inside now that they are the new owners. It's going to be great. DJ June Aviles, DJ Faraway, they're going to be the two DJs. So you know that we are going to be having a great time. Dress to Impress, 80s, 90s freestyle party. Again, if you are on this and you are watching and you are someone who likes freestyle and you're interested in attending, inbox me so I can put your name on the list. She has authorized me to tell 10 people to come and join us for free in love of Love Shouldn't Hurt. Again, those proceeds at the door are coming to our organization. She's donating them. So we love Jen, and we are super excited to celebrate her birthday and just excited that she's sharing this moment with us. So come out and join us. We will be here next week. Thank you for joining us. 7 p.m. live, 1-800-799-7233. Marilyn, let's say goodbye. Bye, mi amor. Thank you for being here, honey buns.
From always having me. It's always a pleasure. You know, you can always count on me to be here.
absolutely. I love you. You always bring such a happy aura to you. I love to have positive people on the screen, and you're one of those people. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Bye, guys.
We'll be here next week at 7 p.m.